Hey everyone, welcome to another game from the first round of the 2019 Tata Steel Masters. In this game, Jorden Van Foreest is playing in white against Viswanathan Anand. This is the first time that Jorden is playing in the Masters section, so it's going to be a good experience for him. Anand is of course the heavy favorite in this game, being significantly higher rated, so let's see how this game went. Jorden opened with e4, Anand played c6, the Caro-Kann defense. We have d4, d5. So here Jorden took on d5, perhaps trying to avoid Anand's immense opening knowledge. So here he played bishop d3, knight f6, c3, and here queen c7 from Anand. So the main moves here for black are bishop g4, knight c6 is also commonly played. But Anand decides to go for a sideline, queen c7. So the idea here is that black stops white from going bishop f4. Jorden played h3, so that stops Anand from going bishop g4. Anand played g6, so this is actually the new move in the position. Knight f3 played by Jorden, we have bishop f5, so an interesting idea from Anand, allowing white to capture and double black's pawns, but this in turn will strengthen black's control of the e4 square and also give black an open g file to work with. Jorden wanted none of that and he played knight to e5. Knight c6 from Anand and bishop f4 developing and supporting the e5 knight. So Anand played queen to b6, stepping out of any potential discoveries and also attacking the b2 pawn. So now Jorden took on f5, and it's clear now that Anand is going to castle queen side. So now Jorden played his knight back to d3 to protect b2. Another way of dealing with the problem on b2 is just to simply ignore it and play knight d2, allowing the capture, and here white is going to castle, also allowing queen takes c3, and play knight d to f3. And white can argue that he has pretty decent compensation because black's king is just stranded in the center. So knight d2 is possible, knight takes c6 is also possible. And if b takes c6, then black's king cannot find shelter on either side of the board. And if queen takes c6, then the queen no longer attacks b2. So here Jorden instead played knight d3. Anand plays e6, we have knight to d2, rook g8, attacking the g2 pawn, so white castle, black castled queenside. So here the move knight f3 is an idea, trying to occupy the e5 square, but Jorden goes for the move a4, playing in the spirit of the position. So Anand plays his knight into the center, so that also makes it difficult for white to go b4 as c3 will fall. So Jorden played rook to c1, defending this, preparing to play b4, and also white at some point would hope to break with the move c4, if possible, because that is going to open up this file, and the king is going to be in line with the rook. So another idea instead of rook c1 is to go queen to h5. So this takes advantage of the space left behind by the knight. So the queen now attacks f7 and h7, but more importantly this connects rooks so the rook can come over to b1. So if rook g7, then here white can go a5. If that is taken, then white can take the knight and then bring this knight into the c5 square with a pretty promising position. Black has to be careful here. If bishop takes c5, then you can take. The queen cannot capture on c5 because then b4 comes, winning a piece. And here a seemingly innocent move like bishop e7. This could run into queen to e5, threatening mate on b8 and also attacking the rook. So queen h5 is an interesting continuation, but Jorden opted for the move rook c1. Now bishop d6 from Anand. This is a good move, eliminating one of white's dangerous attacking piece. So Jorden took on d6, knight takes d6, and he played b4. King b8 from Anand, good prophylactic move. So here Jorden played queen to e2. If he played a5, queen c7, it's not clear how white should proceed in this position. If a6, then simply b6. So here, queen to e2. That connects the rooks, and Jorden wants to defend the d4 pawn before breaking with the move c4. So Anand played queen to c7, so the queen could potentially swing all the way to g7 and join in the attack. So now queen to e3, we have knight to e7, so this combines attack and defense. Black wants to reposition the knight over on the king side, and at the same time he is stopping white from going c4. So now Jorden played f3, perhaps trying to take away the square from the black knight. But this unnecessarily weakens e3 and g3. Perhaps a better try for white is rook c2, with the idea of going rook f to c1, and white is hoping to eventually break with the move c4. But in the game f3 played, Anand played knight g6, and we have knight to e5. So Jorden's last two moves are a bit puzzling. I'm not quite sure what white hopes to achieve with knight to e5, because that simply allows Anand to push f4, which he did. And after queen e1, black simply has a very pleasant edge. Now knight f5, eyeing the juicy e3 square. So white took on g6, rook takes g6. Rook number 2 is coming over to g8. g2 is incredibly weak, and this actually looks lost. So here rook f2 played, rook d to g8, c4 from Jorden. So knight to f1 would stop knight to e3, but unfortunately there's knight to h4. And if rook c to c2, then black has a very nice tactic. Rook takes g2. If rook takes, then knight takes f3, forks the queen and the king. So king to h1. So here if you take on e1, then that would simply lose to rook takes g8, queen c8, rook takes, king takes, and here white is simply up a full rook. So here black has to take, and after rook takes, then you can take on e1, rook g8 check. And at the end of this variation, black, I believe, is up 2 pawns, and this is a winning endgame. So note that, let's go back a few moves. So if white decides to try and save the queen, queen to d1, then here rook g1 is going to be mate. So rook takes g2 kind of has to be played here. But going back to the game, c4 was played by Jorden, and we have knight to e3. So here Jorden played c takes d5, knight takes g2, and queen to e5. So if rook takes c7, then black simply takes the queen with check. If king f1, rook g1, followed by taking on c7, and black is up a full rook. So here, queen to e5 played, but this is still lost after queen takes, d takes e5, knight e1 check from Anand, and it was in this position that Jorden Van Foreest resigned the game. If king h2, then simply knight to d3, forking both rooks. Black is going to win material and the game. So a very nice win from Anand. Nepo also managed to win a very nice game against Giri in the Perk defense, where Nepo was playing the black side. So the rest of the games in this round were drawn. That is all for this video. Thanks for watching and see you soon.